Welcome back to the Bluegrass family. We're so happy that you're here with us and we hope that y'all are doing well. We are building a wooden raspberry trellis today on the farm. We planted these raspberry plants last spring and they've grown to the point now that they need a nice structure to hold them up against all of the different weather that we get here. So we spent last weekend working and building this trellis and we are going to walk you all through how we got it built. So stay around and see the finished product. Before we started to build this wooden raspberry trellis, the raspberries were held up by just a cattle panel and some rebar that my husband had staked into the ground. And as you can see, the one on the right had grown pretty tall and was starting to kind of topple over. And so it really needed a taller structure to hold it up so that it wouldn't get damaged by any of the weather. So that's the reason that we decided to go ahead and get this trellis built. And we plan to build many more of these trellises with some of our fruit bushes and fruit plants that we have here on the farm. So we really like the way that this one turned out, and we will show you all how we got it done start to finish. So to get started, we dig 2 holes with the auger attachment on the tractor that are about 2.5 feet deep, I believe is what he measured it to be. For the base of the trellis, we just use a few of the scrap pieces of board that we have laying around, and my husband did decide to go ahead and wood burn these pieces just so that they don't break down in the weather. I actually really like the look of the wood burn too, so that's just a nice added element to it. So to secure these into the ground, we just backfilled these with the mud that we had dug out of the holes, just tamped that down. We didn't use any concrete because my husband wants to be able to move the trellis if we ever decide to move the raspberry plants. So once we finish with this side, we just move on to the next side, and we made sure that everything was level. That way it's just nice and square. We get this post set into the ground, and then we move on to adding the other elements of wood and the cattle panel to hold everything in place. And we will just show you all how we do this step by step. So this is just the second part of obviously setting the second pole, and then we'll move on to adding the other wood. And you can see from the video exactly the way that we have put it all together, and that way it'll be a little bit easier if you guys are wanting to replicate something similar. So here we go ahead and add these pieces of wood onto the base posts. My husband is just lining those up and checking to make sure that they're level. We have a lot of this wood just laying around on the farm because my husband is constantly cutting trees down, and it's just really resourceful for us to have a sawmill, because whenever we have projects like this, it really comes in handy to use the wood that we already have, which is exactly what we're doing here. He does secure this wood onto the base post with a nail gun, and like I said, he's just making sure that it's level. And we ended up using 6 of these pieces of wood, and then we used a cattle panel to make the entire structure. So it was pretty affordable for us because we already had all of the supplies on hand. So I'm not exactly sure the dimensions from the bottom pieces of wood to the middle, but the entire structure is probably about 6 foot tall or more. It's got to be at least 6'4", probably, or 5 feet. The one raspberry plant that we have is already grown to the very top of the trellis, so we hope it kind of loops over and comes back down is our idea for the trellis. So that is sort of how we planned the design of this specific trellis for these raspberry plants. So it is relatively tall, and it should offer plenty of room for them to keep growing and make it easy for us to be able to get to the raspberries. entire project took us about 3 hours to complete. We already had the wood sawed and milled down. Obviously that shaved off a lot of time and we didn't have to go pick it up from the store. And then using the tractor with the auger attachment definitely helped us save time digging the holes. And we will continue to build projects like this and to do different DIY projects here on our farm, and hopefully continue to be able to use stuff that we already have on hand and be resourceful with it. So if you all would like to continue to see videos like this, please like and subscribe to our channel. As always, we appreciate you all being here with us, and we hope you have a great day.